The Adaptive City. I'm very glad that I chose that title. I'd have been terrified to have on my slide the creative economy, given what the poet said, and which I agree with him. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful speech. It wasn't a speech, it was a thought. Wonderful. But I'm going to speak about the creative economy a bit. I'm going to speak about my experiences in China, because I'm currently spending about half my life in China, mostly in Shanghai. I've been in Beijing and Wuxi, but mainly in Shanghai, where the government has set up a research center for me on the creative economy. And I'm going to be talking also a bit about the creative ecology, which is my next book, which is trying to bring together the concept of ecology and the concept of creativity. What strikes me about the love that we have for our own cities is very easily transferable to other cities. In the old days, I think we were very loyal to our city of birth and education and our first job, and now we travel much more easily. When I was 20 years old and left university, I went to London. Almost everybody of my generation went to London. We went to London, we would have said, if asked, we went to London for work. But we really went to London to meet up with new people, to have new experiences, to fall in love with new people, to have fun, to develop ourselves. That's the real reason why people go to cities. But very few people go in the other direction. As a result, our cities are even more crowded and congested and noisy and incredibly expensive compared to what they were. I say at the bottom there, transient, secrecy, craziness, and waste. These are not necessarily bad things. Secrecy and craziness are a reason to go to the city, because we like to live our lives to some extent in privacy. And privacy is easier in a crowded city than it is in the countryside. What sort of cities do we want? And I'm going to answer that through my 3 principles of the creative ecology. And this is probably the most important slide that I'm going to put up today. At least, this is the most important slide, I think, that I'm going to put up there today. Because those 3 principles, to my mind, underpin the whole creative ecology. You can't have a creative ecology unless you get those 3 principles. And if you do get those 3 principles right, the rest is detail. Everyone is creative. Now, creativity needs freedom. I put down there freedom of expression, but it's not really what I mean. I talk about this a lot in China. And I know that as I say that, I'm treading on quite thin ice, because in China, basically if the party, the government says, that's a really good idea, sort of everybody has to say, yeah, that's a really good idea. But this freedom to maintain, assert, drive forward your own relationship to an idea is what marks out the person who can think, be creative, and follow their ideas through to make something of them. It's terribly important. Dialogue is a very important word as well. And at the bottom I say that this has to be accepted by the community. Has to be accepted by the family, has to be accepted vertically through the generations, horizontally, family, friends, and peer group, and indeed the whole society. You can be creative in the desert. You can be creative on a mountaintop. You can be creative in your own room, or you can be creative online, but you can't push that out, share it with other people, check that you're making sense, explore the beauty of it, unless you are in a system, an ecology, that thinks that that is okay to do that. You have to have that support. And creativity, therefore, is not deferential. Creativity never does stuff because someone else says it's a good idea. Or you may do it, but you're always thinking, is this guy right? You're always wanting to check. Creativity is not deferential. It's not a matter of routine. It's not what I call repetitive. When I talk about the creative economy, I contrast it with what I call the repetitive economy. The repetitive economy is basically where you develop something, you do it at the cheapest possible cost, get the money, build a plant, press the green button, and you produce lots and lots and lots, repetitively. That's the repetitive economy. Creative economy thrives off of novelty, change, risk, uncertainty, and the meaning of what you're doing, which is deeply personal all the time.